Well, we got to 1 million subscribers yesterday, and it was really, really exciting. And it's still really, really exciting. But believe it or not, it was not my goal. And I know you probably have a goal if you're a YouTuber. It's so funny, a YouTuber. I'm a 63-year-old YouTuber. You're not supposed to be a YouTuber when you're 63, right? Anyway, but I became a YouTuber when I was younger. I was 60 when I started becoming a YouTuber. Okay. But I want to share with y'all some of the things that we've done to grow our YouTube channel and some of the things that we've done to grow our business. And I'm even going to probably take some questions from the comments eventually, later after I get done sharing some stuff with y'all. But I'm going to share with you how we've grown our business to 8 figures part-time. I'm going to share that with y'all. I'm going to share with y'all how we've grown our YouTube channel pretty remarkably to me, right? Because it's been less than 3 years since we were intentional on YouTube. We got started being intentional on YouTube April 1st, 2022. And on February 27th, 2025, we reached 1 million subscribers in the morning while we were live on YouTube, which was kind of cool too. So I'm going to share with y'all the business stuff first, because last Monday I did a video called, I'm going to look it up because I don't remember, but I did a video on 12 something that you can do something with. So yes, 12 ways to 12x your income. 12x your income. So I'm going to talk about 12xing your income because that's one of the things that I like to share with people. Stop outsmarting yourself. No, was that it? No. Yeah, I think that was it. Stop outsmarting yourself. 7 things you can do to stop. No, that wasn't it. 12, I don't see it though. Oh, there it is right there. The learning curve, the earning curve. The learning curve is the earning curve. 12 ways to speed up 12 ways that speed learning can 12x your income. So I talked about the speed learning part, but I didn't talk about the 12x your income part because I ran out of time. And I had a coaching call right after that. So I'm going to finish that by showing you not just how we've 12x'd our income and our business revenue, but how we've helped our clients do the same thing. Like a lot of the people who are, by the way, I'm not saying that other people's success is the result of me. Right? But we've had our business and our principles that we teach have had an impact on businesses of business owners that you would have heard about. Like business owners who've had $1 million day, generated over $1 million in revenue using the principles we've taught them are people like Dan Locke, Dan Henry, Nehemiah Davis, Wall Street Trapper, David Shands, Him 500, Nicole Callier, and Marvin Mitchell, and Eileen Wilder, and so many others that have gotten their $1 million day award in that they've generated over $1 million in revenue in their business in sales in a single day. And they've done it because of what I'm about to show you on how to 12x. And it's actually not 12x. It's actually 12.8x. But if you say how to 12.8x your income, like people are like, what's wrong with him, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on my board, we're going to take a business. Oh, Josh and Wasi, when they came to us, their business was doing $10,000 a month in revenue, and inside of a year, I think it took them 8 months, they had their first $1 million day. You take somebody like Dr. Delatoro McNeil, same thing, $1 million day, like on and on. Like I could name, I just forgot all of them. I mean, Annie Grace Jensen, and as I'm talking, they keep coming to me. These are all people who we've consulted with, whose business were doing way less revenue than that, and by applying the principles I'm about to show all of you on the YouTubeosphere. This is my way of celebrating me getting to $1 million. If I can help you use these principles to get to $1 million a year, that we use to get to like millions of dollars a year, to generating over $1 million a month consistently for years, then it was worth my time. And it was certainly worth your time. So I promise you, this video is going to be worth your time. You have to. And I'm not even going to talk really, really fast because I'm not in a hurry. So I'm going to show you first how we did it, like in the business. Then I'm going to show you some of the things that we've done to scale our YouTube. And I think it's going to help you tremendously. So let's get this party started. Y'all want to make some noise for the people online? Okay, cool. Let's go. And no, that was not a recording. That was not. What's that podcast? It wasn't a soundboard. So anyway, so if your business is doing, I'm gonna start with a business that's doing $10,000 a month in revenue. By the way, some of you are saying, but how do you get to $10,000 a month in revenue? Okay, so should I start with that? Okay. So create a $100 offer. Create an offer that makes you $100. Okay? Make make 100 sales per month. Now, 100 sales sounds like a lot, right? It's only 3.3 sales a day. 3.3 sales per day at $100 is $10,000 a month. So now, when you say $10,000 a month, for some of you, honestly, does that sound like a lot? Kind of? A lot-ish, right? But a $100 offer, how many of you feel like you could probably create something that people would be willing to pay you $100 for? Yeah, look, right? Okay, so you create something that people pay you $100 for, sell 100 of them a month. You say, how do you sell 100 of them a month? Maybe you buy some ads and or you promote it organically on TikTok and Instagram and you generate, 10 leads a day. If you generate 10 leads a day, that's 300 leads a month, right? And if 30% of those leads buy your offer, you're making $10,000 a month. Okay, so cool. We got the $10,000 a month. So this equals $10,000 a month, right? Okay, so now, that's the foundation. Okay, so we're gonna do another scenario because it's easier to get to $10,000 a month. Would y'all like me to tell you like a way that's 10 times easier to get to $10,000 a month? Have a $1,000 offer and make 10 sales a month. Okay, that's way easier, right? And so we're gonna and this is what I'm gonna use Josh and Wasi because they come to mind because they fit this illustration like exactly. They came to me and they were like, we're stuck at $10,000 a month. Okay, cool. So if you're generating $10,000 a month, the $10,000 a month has to be coming from somewhere. So where's it coming from? Okay, it's coming from you've generated some leads, and those leads, some of those leads are buying something from you. So let's say you're generating 100 leads per month. Now, 100 leads per month is only 3.3 leads a day. There's not anybody who can't generate 3.3 leads a day. Like get 3.3 people a day to say, hey, I'm open to hearing what you have to offer me. You could right? Not that they're going to hear you that day, but 3.3 people a day saying, hey, I'd eventually like to hear something that you have to offer me. Okay, so, but let's say your conversions aren't that great and you're only converting at 10%. So 10% conversion and your price point is $1,000. That's your price. So 10% of 100 is how much? How much? 10. So we're making 10 sales. So 10 sales times $1,000 equals how much? $10,000. And you're doing this every month. Okay, that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this $10,000 a month, and we're going to grow it from $10,000 a month to $128,000 a month, and we're going to do that in 4 moves, not 40 moves. Because if you had 40, what if you get all the way up to 39, you can't remember the 40th one? Or what if you can't remember 27? But anybody can remember 40. I mean, anybody can remember 4, right? How many of y'all can remember 4? Everybody can count to 4. Can everybody count to 4? Okay, so we can all count to 4. We can all remember 4. So we're going to make 4 moves, and we're going to turn this into $128,000 a month. Now, how are we going to do that? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to realize, okay, 100 leads a month is not that much. So what we're going to do is we're going to double our lead generation times 2, and we're going to start generating 200 leads a month. Now, I'm just going to tell you this because there are a lot of people on YouTube right now. You're already generating leads. You're just not generating that many. The number one problem I see in lead generation is too many people who are attempting to generate leads are attempting to move people towards pleasure instead of moving them away from pain. You're saying 7 steps to 7 figures. 7 steps to 7 figures is a terrible headline for lead generation. You know what a better headline is? The 7 biggest mistakes that's keeping entrepreneurs from 7 figures. They both say the same thing. But the entrepreneur already knows they're not making 7 figures. But they also know that it's really, really hard to make $60,000 a year. So they think, if I'm going to go from $60,000 a year to 7 figures, it's got to be whatever that is times 60,000, that much harder. I don't believe you. 7 steps to 7 figures, I don't believe you. But the 7 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs are making that keep them from 7 figures, that's easier to believe. Are y'all tracking? Does this make sense? Okay. So I'm going to double my lead generation by just taking the same lead generation mechanisms that I have, whether it's a funnel, whether it's dialing a phone number, whether it's sending a text message, whatever. Whatever I'm generating now, inbox, messaging, bots, blah, 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 whatever you're using, just create content that moves people away from pain and more people will give you their details. Okay, so now we're doing 200 leads per month. What's our conversion rate? 10%. 10% conversion. Okay, this is leads per month. 10% conversion. And what's our price point? $1,000. And 10% of 200 is what? 20. So we take 20 times the $2,000. How much are we making a month now? 20,000 a month. We fixed one thing and we've doubled our revenue. And I am telling you, this happens so fast for people that their mind is blown. This is real. This is not some hocus pocus, airy fairy, pie in the sky, wishful thinking. This is how it works. You double your leads. If everything else stays the same, you have to double your revenue. Okay, cool. So this is like the math is mathing. But how many of y'all know 20,000 a month is twice as good as 10,000 a month, but it's still not 128,000 a month, right? So we got some more work to do. But how many moves have we made, y'all? Talk to me, everybody. How many? We made one move. How many moves we got left? 3. Okay, cool. Y'all, the math is mathing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take another number and we are going to double our conversions. And how are we going to double our conversions? We're going to double our conversions by getting better at sales, improving our sales skills. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of things you can do to improve your sales skills. Number 1, questions are the answer. Questions are the answer. What does that mean? That means the gift of gab is not your friend in selling. The gift of shut up, hold your peace, bite your tongue, say less, all of that is beneficial to selling. The gift of gab, disaster. You have to learn how to ask questions and WFA. What's WFA stand for? Wait for an answer. One of the reasons people can't sell is because they talk too much and listen too little. See, here's what I do. Here's what I discovered in selling. If you care enough about people and you pay attention, they will tell you everything you need to know in order for them to buy. So when I'm selling, I don't bring the content to the sales table. I let the prospect do that. They supply the content. I provide the context. What does that mean? I can tell you how my whatchamadoogle, that's what I'm selling. I'm selling whatchamadoogles today, and they're only $1,000. Okay? So I can tell you how my whatchamadoogle is going to help you, like take the best vacations in the world and stay in the nicest hotels for the lowest amount of money. But you're like, I don't like traveling. So now I've given you all this content, and I've wrapped it in my context, and now you don't buy because I told you instead of asking you. Right? And so what I do instead is I'll ask people, so let's say you're closing somebody after a webinar. I would say, so what did you like best about what you saw on the webinar? Guess what they're going to tell me? They're going to tell me what they like best. It's amazing. Now, who provided that content, me or them? They did. Okay, cool. And let's say they say, I like the fact that you could make big money and have more free time. I'm just making this really simple, right? I like the fact that you can make big money and have more free time. Okay, great. How long have you been desiring to make big money and have more free time? Oh, for the last 7 years. Wow. So for the last 7 years, you've been desiring to make big money and have free time. So when you have the more money, is there something in particular that you'd like to buy that you can't buy right now? And they tell me. When you have the free time, is there something you'd like to be able to do that you don't have time to do now? Is there somebody you'd like to spend time with that you don't have time to spend time with now? Like, are there activities that are just undone? Are there projects you want to work on? Like, what is it about the free time that's so appealing to you? And guess what they do? They tell me. If I am selling and the prospect does most of the talking, the likelihood of them buying goes through the roof. If I am in a selling environment and I'm doing most of the talking, the likelihood of them buying goes down in the dungeon. I don't want to do most of the talking when I'm selling, ever. Why? And then people say, well, Myron, how do you overcome objections? I don't get them. Why? Because an objection is a question that didn't get answered in the presentation or the conversation, and therefore it got infected and festered into an infection, which is all an objection is, an infected question that didn't get answered in the presentation. How many of y'all tracking? And so I keep asking questions. And then I'll say, okay, so great. What questions, if any, do you have for me? Now this is where it really gets good. The more questions they ask me, every time they ask me a question, I answer it, they're closer to buying. And they ask me a question, I answer it, and then I say, wow, what other questions do you have? Well, what about this, this, and that? Oh, well, this is this and that's that. And by the way, this will never be that and that'll never be this. And when you keep them together, it's amazing. Okay, cool. Then they ask, what other questions do you have? And they ask me another question. I answer that. What other questions do you have? I ask them, what other questions do you have? I want to ask them questions until they run out of questions. I don't care. If it takes an hour, great. It doesn't usually take an hour because most people are terrible at asking questions. But if it takes an hour, great. Because the more questions somebody asks, the more likely they are to buy. I mean, you can do a test. Like when you're closing, like you're in a closing situation, you're having a conversation with somebody who's contemplating buying. When that happens, if somebody says, you count the questions, ask them, what questions, if any, do you have, and then check. One, that's one. What other questions do you have? Two, what other questions? I promise you, you will see a direct correlation between how many questions they ask and whether or not they bought. Now, you get better at sales. You get better at understanding. How else do you get better at sales? You get better at sales by understanding the value of your offer. Most entrepreneurs, when they're talking about their offer, they talk about all this stuff that's not valuable to the prospect. And they wonder why the prospect didn't buy. Because you're talking about stuff that's valuable to you instead of talking to them about stuff that's valuable to them. Like, this doesn't make any sense, my people. And it doesn't matter what you sell. It doesn't matter if you're selling insurance or if you're selling real estate or if you're selling cars or if you're selling houses. It just is, real estate is houses. It doesn't matter. Like, something I just said was very redundant. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're selling books or whether you're selling coaching or whether you're selling vitamins. It just doesn't matter. The reality is, you have to know what the value of your offer is. Otherwise, you, as the person who's doing the selling, are going to emphasize the wrong thing, and people are going to say no. Now, then the question is what? What is the value of my offer? Isn't that the question? What's the value of my offer? So before I tell you what the value of your offer is, let me tell you what the value of your offer is not. The value of your offer is not, I'm going to come back to this canvas. The value of your offer. The value. Everybody loves the word, but nobody goes into any detail. The value of your offer is not, oh, you know what? Let's do that in red. The value of your offer is not. But the value of your offer is. Okay? The value of your offer is not what? The value of your offer is not the pieces. What do you mean the pieces? Well, we've got, in this coaching program, we've got 75 videos, we've got 65 audios, we've got 13 workbooks, and you're talking about, nobody wants that. They're okay receiving that if that's how they have to get the value, but that's not what's valuable to them. And if you're emphasizing it, you are emphasizing the wrong thing. It's not the process. Nope. You're showing people the process in your presentation. It's costing you sales. Well, we have the Slack channel, and here's how you use it. Then you can have these huddles, and then you can message, blah, blah, blah. And then, in addition to the Slack channels, we also have these Trello boards. Look at all these Trello boards we have. Oh, and the spreadsheet, and then you start going into all the process. When you show people the process, all you're telling them is, this is hard. And the question they have in their mind is, does it work? Is it easy? Can I do it? If the answer to does it work is no, they're not buying. If the answer to is it easy is no, they're not buying it. If the answer in their minds is can I do it, the answer in their minds is no, they're not buying. So do not show them the process. Now, do not show them the process. Okay. This one really gets me because this is one that'll cause you, especially for those of you coaches out there, this is the one that causes you to hate your clients for something you did. Okay? It's not in, the value of your offer is not your person. What does that mean? Well, you get an hour of my time every week, an hour of coaching with me. I am essential to you getting the things you desire in life. So you have to have an hour with me. And then you got 50 people who have an hour with you every week, and you're like, oh, I hate this so much. I'm making so much more money than I've ever made in my life, and I hate it. That's not the value of your offer. So if the value of your offer is not the pieces, and it's not the process, it's not your person, what is the value of your offer? The value of your offer is only one thing. The value of your offer is the payoff. What do they get when they say yes that they don't have if they say no? What will they be able to do when they say yes that they can't do if they say no? Who will they get to become if they say yes that they can't become if they say no? That's the only value your offer has. And see, you're selling to people, and they know what all the pieces are, and they know what all the process is, and they know how many hours of your time they get, but they don't know what the payoff is because you didn't talk about it. Are y'all tracking? You start talking about this, and emphasizing this and talking about other people you helped get this and show them how you got this, then guess what? Congratulations, you've just doubled your conversions. What was our conversion rate before? We're generating 200 leads per month. Okay? We're generating 200 leads per month. Our conversion before was 10%. What's our conversion now? We doubled it. What is it? 20%. Okay? 20% conversion. Okay? What's our price again? $1,000. And that's the price. And what's 20% of 200? Oh, snap. 40. Now we're making $40,000 a month. Hey, we got real business, y'all. We're generating $40,000 a month of revenue. How many moves have we done? Two. How many we got left? I don't know about you, but I'm getting chills because we're way closer than we were. We've 4x'd our business. We've made 2 moves. We're like, we moved a pawn, we moved a rook, and now we're about to take over the world. And we can feel it. Because when you go from 10,000 to 40,000 a month, you think you are a baller. You're like, I'm balling now. We bringing in 40,000 a month. Okay. 40,000 a month is 4 times more than 10,000 a month, but how many of y'all know 4,000 to 40,000 a month is not 128,000 a month? But fortunately, we got 2 moves left. Let's make another move. We're going to add something now that we didn't have before. So now we're going to add. We're going to add something. What are we going to add? Let's add a PVO. What's a PVO? A PVO is a premium value offer. So, I'm going to ask you all a question. I want you all to tell me the answer. Everybody ready? Yes. What car company makes the Maybach? Mercedes-Benz. Right. Okay. Does anybody remember when the Maybach first came out back in the early 2000s? How much a Maybach 64 was? What was it? It was $500,000. Very good, Cole. $500,000. Mercedes already had a $100,000 car. They already had a $150,000 car. Why in the world would Mercedes create a $500,000 car? Because they got tired of sending their best clients to Rolls-Royce and Bentley because they didn't have anything to offer them. You say, Myron, what are you saying? I'm saying if you don't have a premium value offer solution for your clients, you are forcing your best clients who love you already, you are forcing your best clients to spend most of their money with somebody other than you. I don't know if you heard Heavenly Angels choir singing, but I did. You're forcing the majority of your best clients to spend most of their money with somebody other than you. Why? Because you don't have anything to offer them. And the person they're buying from, they like you way better than they like that person. You just don't have anything for them. So they can't buy it from you. They have to buy it from somebody else because they want the transformation. They want the payoff. And if you know how to get them the payoff and you don't offer them the payoff, you're literally forcing them to do business with somebody else. So let's add a premium value offer. And the premium value offer, let's say it's not huge. It's $10,000 for this transformation, whatever it is. You could be a mastermind. It could be a group coaching program. It could be whatever. Like $10,000, and that's how much it is. Okay, now, how many of y'all know all of these people are not buying that? Right? But let's say we can convert 10% of these people. 10% of the 40 people who buy, let's say 10% of those people will buy your premium value offer. 10% of your clients will buy your best offer. Okay. What's 10% of 40? 4. What's 4 times 10,000? That's another 40,000 a month. We're making 40 sales a month. And 10% of our 40 sales people, 10% of the 40 buyers are buying our $10,000 offer. Now we just added another $40,000 a month, $40,000 a month to our revenue. You add the 40,000 to 40,000, how much is that? 80,000 a month. 80,000 a month is almost $1 million a year. That's 960,000 a year. That's way better than a sharp stick and eye. This is game changer, y'all. Oh, by the way, this is 8 times more than where we started. 8 times more. And 8 times more is great. How many of y'all know 8 times more is great? Right? If we were done at 8 times more, how many of y'all be happy? Yeah? Okay. But that's not what we said. We said what? 12.8x. 12.8x. We're going to 128,000. We might as well keep going because we're already going. Right? Okay. What can we do? How many moves have we used? 3. We've used 3 moves. How many moves we got left? 1. We got 1 more move. What's it going to be? 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 Ah, I know. Why don't we add? I went the wrong way. Why don't we add we're going to add an FCO. Where were we? Where are we at right now a month? We're at 80,000 a month. Okay. We're going to add an FCO. What's an FCO? So how many sales are we making a month? We're making 40 sales per month. Let's add an FCO to these 40 sales. What's FCO stand for? It stands for a forced continuity offer. In other words, when you buy my $1,000 thing, you buy my thing for $1,000, I'm going to offer you my newsletter that helps you get the most out of the thing you bought for $1,000, and the newsletter is $100 per month. But I'm going to give it to you for free. How many of y'all like free? Okay, I'm going to give it to you for free for a month and let you try it for a month for free. And then you take this and you apply it to what you did up there, and all of a sudden it makes this thing worth 3, 4, 5, 10 times as much as it was. The transformation you got from that worth 3, 4, 5, 10 times as much. And so all of these we call it a forced continuity offer because we don't let them buy this unless they say yes to this. So you have to take the free thing or you don't get this thing. That's why it's called a forced continuity offer. Okay, are y'all tracking? So they get the free newsletter. They love it. It could be software. It could be a newsletter. It could be a membership site. That's nebulous. It's $100 a month. Okay, it's $100 per month, $100 a month times 40 people. How many is that a month? How much money is that a month? How much is it? 4,000. 4,000. That's $4,000 a month. How many months are there in a year? 12,000. 12 months in a year. What's 12 times 4,000? 48,000. By the way, this is what we call MRR. That's 48,000 in MRR, which stands for monthly recurring revenue. We add the 48,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue to the 80,000 a month. We are at $128,000 a month. I'm telling you, this works like clockwork. This is not theory for me. Our business generates hundreds of thousands of dollars a month just in monthly recurring revenue. How many of y'all would like to have a couple $100,000 a month coming in before you get out of bed? Right? All the payroll's paid, all that marketing's paid for, and now all you got to do is go make profit. This is how we scale a business 12.8x. Now, I know I didn't get to it Monday, but I came back and finished it today. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with y'all the principles we use to got some peanut butter for my peanut butter crackers. I'm going to share with you all the principles we use to grow our YouTube channel. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Like this is what I coach people on. This is what people pay me $40,000 an hour for. This is what people get when they buy my Boss Moves book. That's what they get. That's what they get when they get a $40,000 an hour coaching session. That's what they get in my King Solomon's Court, my $55,000 a year coaching program. Like we go into great detail on how to do all of these things. That's what we cover in our Offer Mastery Bootcamp, in our $27,000 coaching program. This is what we cover. This is how we teach our clients to scale their business. And this is why we have so many clients that have so much success and so many clients who renew year after year after year. Because we started with $10,000 a month. What if you started $100,000 a month? It all still works the same way. It takes a little bit more to double your leads when you got enough leads to generate $100,000 a month, but still it's doable. None of us are generating as many leads as we could. I mean, we only generate generally between 3,000 and 15,000 leads a month. And 15,000 is really good, obviously, but 3,000 is not terrible, right? But we could all do better. We could all generate more leads, all of us. Doesn't matter how many leads you generate, you can generate more. Doesn't matter what your conversion rate is, you can work on improving your conversion rate. Very few businesses have premium value offers. So anybody can add those. Not enough businesses have continuity. This is how we scale business. Okay, so how do we scale YouTube? Before I do that, we have people in the audience who brought gifts for me. So Maria got me this gift right here. It says Myron Gold. Do you want me to read the card too? If I want to. Yeah, I'm going to read it. So this is our million subscriber YouTube watch party. We already got the million subscribers yesterday. Now you're watching us have a party. And so we got people, we're having a party. We have people here. And after I'm done sharing, the next thing I'm going to share with y'all on YouTube, I'll take a couple questions on YouTube. And then we're going to close out the live. And then I'm going to take questions in here. And we're going to serve food to all our friends here in studio. So this is from my sister Maria, who's been coming for, 2 years. That's crazy. Been coming for 2 years. She got me a card that says, I am enough. That is so cool. Do you want me to read it out loud? No. Is it? Read it to myself. Okay. I'm going to read that because I'll read that later. Okay. So, and then Max and Karen got me la-da-ta-da. I don't know what it is, but I didn't finish opening Maria's gift. I'm going to guess this is a box of golf balls. It's just a guess. Because somebody might know that I play golf. And I know what a box of golf balls feels like with my eyes closed and half my brain tied behind my back. And it ain't just golf balls, y'all. This ain't just golf balls. Maria is paying attention. These are Pro V1s, ladies and gentlemen. Maria, thank you so much. Wow. Now, I know, for those of you who are not golfers, that means nothing to you. But Paul, we understand, don't we, brother? We understand. We understand exactly. This ball, so for those of you who care, and even for those of you who don't, because all of you are watching. Ed, you get it. Ed knows, right? You understand it's significant. A Pro V1 is magical. It's soft and responsive, which means it goes a long way, but you can make it check up and like land and turn left or land and turn right. You can hit it past the flag and make it back up. It just does all kinds of cool stuff. It's like magic. Okay. Very fun golf ball to play golf with. So, Max and Karen, I don't know. It's a frame. Really, considering who gave it to me, not you, Karen, but Max, I'm scared to open it. Because this guy is complete. What's that? Oh boy, I'm live. Okay. This guy's completely out of control. Y'all don't even know. Y'all pray for his wife. Pray for Karen when y'all think about her. And think about her a lot, because she really needs it. Something's framed. How cool is that? How did you do that? Wow.
By the way, that's the first picture when we came into your office on the left.
That's so crazy.
That was yesterday on the right.
That's so crazy. I know. See what I'm doing? So let me teach y'all what I'm doing right now. Even though you are sick of me, and I know it. I don't blame you. I'd be sick of me too. I'm creating anticipation. So I know you're thinking, I wish you'd show it to me already. But I'm enjoying this. Okay, I'm going to turn it to you. Congratulations, 1 million subscribers on YouTube, January 27th, 2025. Myron Golden, service too many leads to greatness, Matthew 23:11. This is so cool, Max. Karen, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Wow. And I'm not just saying this, and I hope the people at YouTube hear me. I like this better than the gold plaque they're going to send me. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. How cool is this? It's craziness. Wow. That's the live from yesterday, and that's the first one y'all came, and that's way pre-studio right there, boy. That's like Myron had no beard, no nothing. Okay. He got me with a picture of a cassette tape. That's so great. That is so fantastic. I'm going to sit here so y'all can enjoy it, and I don't want it to fall because it's hard for it to fall if it's on the ground. Okay. See, I didn't figure some of this stuff out. Okay, let us dive into the YouTube sphere. I'm going to share with y'all some of the things that I believe about YouTube and how you can grow your audience on YouTube. And so as I talk about growing, as I think about growing YouTube, and I talk about it, it's different than you might think. Like people have all these goals and objectives. They see Mr. Beast with his 742 quadrillion subscribers and his 11 million views a minute. Yes, and I do like making up numbers. 11 million views a minute. And he has all of this, and we see all these other people, and we're like, man, if I could just get there. But do you know how you get there? One more video, one more subscriber. One more video, one more subscriber. And eventually one more video brings you 2 more subscribers. Eventually one more video will bring you 13 subscribers. See, I think our perception is our perception of reality is skewed by other people's experiences. And so we look at what other people are doing, and since we don't believe we can do what they are doing, we believe we can't do anything. But that's nonsensical. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do in order to build a YouTube channel? I'm not going to pretend to know all the answers because I definitely don't. But I'm going to give you a framework that I believe can take your YouTube channel and your whole, especially YouTube. I'm going to tell you how I think about it first, for a lot of reasons. But before I tell you that, let me tell you how I first got started on YouTube. It was March 15th, 2007. I was at a nursing home on 6th Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My mother was in there because she had Alzheimer's. And my brothers were there, and my kids were there, and my brother's kids were there, and my dad was there, and we were all there celebrating my mom's birthday. And there are 7 of us brothers, and then we all have kids now, so there was a lot of people there. And the nursing home was tired of us. Anyway, my nephew comes in, and he had posted a video earlier that week, and it had 50,000 views. This was in 2007. I'm like, wow, what does that mean? Okay, so I went on, so I made a couple of videos. I created a YouTube account. He showed me how to create a YouTube account. I created a YouTube account, made a couple of videos, made a couple more, never really thought that much about it. And I made one video back then that had like 50,000 views eventually over time, but nothing significant, like super significant. And I didn't really pay attention to it. Now, I want y'all to remember that date, March 15th, 2007. I opened my YouTube account. That week I made my first video, okay? It wasn't until October of 2021 that I realized, as I'm sitting in a conference, and a guy's talking on YouTube about how he helped all these people get 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they were making millions of dollars. I'm like, what does that mean? They're making millions of dollars from YouTube videos. What does that mean? I literally found out that YouTube paid people for videos in October of 2021. I didn't know. I was on YouTube for 14 years before I knew there was such a thing as monetizing YouTube videos. I'm a fairly intelligent individual. Why y'all looking at me like that? I am. I promise. I can bring, like, I have witnesses, right? Okay. So, but I didn't have any idea. I had no idea. By the time I realized that YouTube paid people, I had maybe, in that 14-year time period, maybe 5,000 subscribers. I already was monetizable, but I didn't know there was such a thing as monetizable, so I never hit the button. So I didn't make any money. And then we turned on monetization in February of 2022. So 15 years after I got started on YouTube, I turned on monetization. By the time that rolled around, we had getting pretty close to 10,000 subscribers. When I made the decision, when I made the what? Decision. Talk to me, everybody, the what? Decision. When I made the decision to consistently produce YouTube content, it was April 1st, well, it was in March of 2022, but I decided on April 1st, I'm going to start doing 1 video a week, regardless of outcome. What happened?
Oh, sorry. You joined YouTube in 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2000.
Yeah. Yeah, we think right. Somebody joined in 2007, had no idea until 2024. Right. It's not that uncommon not to know things that are obvious to other people. Right. Okay. So I'm fast forwarding. April 1st, I'm going to start doing a video a week. So we turned on monetization when? February. Just by pushing the button. We didn't make any new videos. The last video we did before February of 2022 was like in June of 2021. It was a long time. We pushed a button. That month, YouTube paid us $305. Can y'all imagine how much money I left on the table? Like millions upon millions of dollars. Just for pushing a button, we made $305. The next month, we still did, like March, we didn't make any videos. March, they paid us $353. Still no new videos. Like, what's happening? Well, they're paying you for the videos you have up. What does that mean? I promise you, I was as confused as a calf looking at a new gate. And I decided, okay, April, we'll start doing a video a week. Guess what happened when we started doing a video a week? April. Our revenue went from $353 to $1,570. By the way, I'm not telling you that to get you to believe that that's going to happen for you. I'm going to tell you that that's probably not going to happen for you. And here's why it's probably not going to happen for you. And here's why I believe it happened for me. I had literally spent the last several decades of my life honing my craft as a communicator, both in ministry and in business. So when I started going live on YouTube, I was already really, really good at communicating and really, really good at teaching. And some people think I'm just saying this. I don't feel like I'm a great public speaker, but I'm really good. I'm a really good teacher. I mean, sometimes. I'm a really good teacher. Most of the time, I'm a really good teacher. And sometimes, I'm a really good teacher. and I'm a really good communicator. I'm really good at saying exactly what I mean because I can't stand like when somebody says something to me and I'm confused. I'm like, what does that even mean, right? Okay, so, but here's what I decided. I'm going to do a video a week, every week, regardless of outcome, and I'm going to do that for 10 years and see what happens. I don't care if we get 1,000 subscribers. I don't care if we get 1 million. I don't care if we get 10 million. I don't care if we don't get any. I'm going to do a video a week consistently for 10 years. Not to see if I can get subscribers, not to see if I can get views, not to see if I can get monetization, not to see if I can get money, but I want to do this to see if I can get good at YouTube. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not good yet. And I'm not saying that to try to be humble. I know I'm not good yet. You know how I know I'm not good yet? Because when I post a video, it doesn't get 1 million views in the first day. Like that would be, I'd be good. If it got 1 million views in the first week, I'd feel like, okay, I'm pretty good. If every video I posted got 1 million views in the first week, I'd say, okay, now I'm good at YouTube. Even if it got, 100,000 views in a week, it's nice. But I'm not saying that because to make you feel like if yours get less than that, you're not good. How about we all do this? How about we all be okay not being good, but remaining in the activity long enough to get good? The only way to get good is to be bad and keep doing it long enough to get good. See, most people, when they're bad, they stop doing it. I'm bad, I just keep doing it. Why? Because eventually I'm going to get good. How do I know that? Because there was a whole lot of stuff that I wasn't good at when I landed on this planet. Wasn't good at walking, wasn't good at talking, wasn't good at feeding myself, right? Wasn't good. I couldn't ride a bicycle, couldn't drive a car, couldn't use a phone. I couldn't read, couldn't write, didn't know math. I learned how to do all that stuff. This will be no different. I can eventually get good. Does that make sense? And so I don't have to beat myself up because I'm not good. I already know I'm not good. Somebody says, you're terrible. Right, I know. But you're late to the party. I know I'm not good. But the difference between me and you is, while I'm not good, I'm going to take as good as I am and put it out there and see if it might help somebody. As opposed to waiting until I get good to get started. Because then I'll never get started. Because the only way to get good is to get started. And to be bad and stay in the activity long enough to get good. So that's one of the things that I believe. On this plaque that Max and Karen gave me, they have a picture of what the studio looked like back when they first started coming. And the ceilings were like these drop ceilings. And then the stage was back there, and the mic monitor was up here, and people, when they came to the front, right? It's a totally different building now. When they started, when we first started, we had different cameras, and we used to have this, on the LED wall, we used to have this black rolling line that just rolled up because the frame rate in the cameras didn't match the frame rate in the LED wall. I don't even know what a frame rate is. The people who fixed it told me that that's what it was. Right? I don't even know what a frame rate. Frame rate? Okay. Yeah. How much does a frame cost? Okay. So all I'm saying is, that it literally doesn't matter. Like, forget about all this self-judgment stuff. It doesn't matter. Stop beating yourself up because you're not good. You weren't good at anything at first. Why should this be different? And be okay with that. But let every time you do a YouTube video, see, this is one thing I can do. Every time I do a YouTube video, I can get better. You know what I did one day to get better at making YouTube videos? I sat there, took the emojis that I use on my phone, and I practiced drawing them on my board so that when I'm drawing stuff, I have an idea. I've got 5 books, maybe 6, but I know I have 5 books in my office on how to draw stick figures. Why? Because I want to be good. I have dozens of books. This is not an exaggeration. I have dozens of books that I've read on how to be a better communicator. That I've read. Why? Because I want to get good at this. I want to get to the place where I'm really, really good. Not even so I can get the views. Just because, why would I want to be anything less than the best I can be at anything I do? Why would I even bother? Right? Okay. So, it makes sense to be committed. So when you start creating content, like, just decide you're going to do it, and you're going to do it consistently. And give yourself, you don't have to give yourself 10 years. Give yourself at least 3 years. And you don't have to do it. Like, I said a video a week because I know I can pretty much do a video a week and have the content be good. Like, how often should I go create a video on YouTube? No longer than you have the ability, no more often than you have the ability to create good content. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to cover a training. But before I cover a training, because we just bought a new house, I'm keeping it real, right? We just bought a new house, and the security people are there setting up security, and they've got questions for me that I can't answer. I'm going to take some questions. So, Juwan, if you can scroll through questions, I'm going to let some y'all out here pick a question that'd be really good for everybody, and then when you have a question that you think would be really good for everybody, raise your hand, and then I'll call on you while I answer this question that they're asking me. Okay, so just find a question, and then raise your hand when you got one. When you got a question that's good. Okay, Trudy, you got one? What's the question?
Tamara says, I've learned so much. Do you review your videos to evaluate or move on to the next one?
So Tamara asked the question, do I review my videos
To evaluate them and then move to the next one.
to evaluate them? It depends on what she means by review. No, do I go back and watch my videos? No, I read almost all of the comments on almost every video, right? And I respond to them on the business channel. There's something wonky going on my Bible study channel where I can't respond.
How many questions do you want?
Another one. So do I move on to the next one? So here's what when I say making videos better. Here's what I mean. I'm looking for quality of content, but also quality of audio, quality of video. So we've upgraded our lights multiple times. We've upgraded our cameras multiple times. We've upgraded our microphones multiple times. We've upgraded. We burnt up, literally burnt up 2 or 3 ATEM Mini Pros since we launched this channel, right? And an ATEM Mini Pro is a switcher, but we went through them. So here's what I'm going to do. Y'all take some more questions. I don't know can we play, Jawan, do we have the ability to play a video, like a short video of something, while I go and take a quick break, or no? If not, we don't have any. So here's what y'all can do. Y'all can watch my Make More Offers screen, type your questions in. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. That's how I have to do it. I'm not going to go unlive. Is that a word? And then come back and then go. I'm not going to go unlive and then come back and go relive. So I'll be right back. I got to handle some stuff. I'll be right back. Right back in less than 3. Quiet on set? I'm good. All right, so we're back. I'm going to answer 3 more questions, and then I'm going to go into showing you some of the things I actually do to create my content and how I do it and why I do it and my mindset when I do it. So did anybody get a good question for me to ask?
A lot of questions about communication, what books you recommend,
Oh, yeah, so there are a lot of books, a lot of questions about, Tim said a lot of questions about what books I'd recommend, questions about communication. There are so many books on communication. They're really good to read. One that I read recently that was amazing. It's called Super Communicator by Charles Duhigg, the same guy who wrote, I think, The Power of Habit. I think that's what he wrote. But Super Communicator was great. There was a book for drawing doodlies and called Draw to Win that my son told me about. Really good book. If you start with those 2, that'll be helpful, depending on what your teaching style is, right? There's a preaching book that I read, a couple preacher books that I read. One's called The Homiletical Plot that was really good. And another one, 30 Minutes to Raise the Dead, was another good book that I read on how to communicate better, but it was specifically for preachers. Okay, so now let me get into my framework for actually creating content. I think it's very different than what most people have. So this is how I think about attracting an audience and all that. So I think the content creation framework is the foundation of building your business and building your brand. The content that you create. It doesn't matter what kind of business you have. If I had a lawn care business, I would create content around lawn care. If I had a car wash, I'd create how to take care of your car content. It doesn't matter. Any business that I had, I would create content. Why? And I'm going to tell you why before I tell you how. Because I believe that we are made in the image of God. And God created, I don't know if you've ever thought about this before, but I have. So you'll think about it now. You won't be able to unsee it. God created the contents of the world by using the content of his word. Think about that. God created the contents, the trees and the sun, the moon, the grass. He created the contents, the mountains. He created the contents of the world with the content of his word. That's mind-blowing. And we're made in the image of God. I really believe that you will create the contents of your experiential world. God created the contents of the existential world. We will create the content of our experiential world with the content that we create. Isn't that mind-blowing? The quality of your life is going to be determined by the quality of your content. Wow. So if I understand that, then you've heard me talk about the 4 levels of value. The lowest level of value is implementation. The next level is unification. The next level is communication. The highest level is imagination. So on the implementation level, we use our muscles over time. That's why we can't make that much money on, because muscles are a physical resource. Time is a limited resource. I'm multiplying a physical resource, time a limited resource, so the amount of money that I can make doing that has to be limited. By the way, this is all Genesis 1 stuff, right? You say, where's that in Genesis 1? Because I talk about 4 levels of value. Myron talks about the 4 levels of value being in Genesis chapter 1. I've never seen it. Okay, y'all know where it's at, right? Or you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you? Okay, so when God made man, here's what it says. And God said, let us make man in our image, which means if God said, let us make man in our image, the image had to exist first. That's the highest level, imagination. But then God said, let us make man in our image. That's communication. God didn't say, let me make man in my image. He said, let us make man in our image. That's unification, congruency. And then the last thing that God did was in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, where it says, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The man became a living soul. That is implementation. That's the lowest level of value. Because the lowest part of us is the physical part of us. So that's where how my brain came to those conclusions. Okay? Now, so God used his word. Oh, this is what I was going to say about the 4 levels of value. You can speak without thinking. How many of you have ever said something, man, I should have thought before I said that? Anybody ever do that, right? You can speak without thinking, but you can't think without words. So communication is essential to every aspect of your life. And the better you get at communicating, the better quality of life you will have. If you're in a relationship, the better you get at communicating in your relationship, the better relationship you'll have. If you have a business, the better you get communicating your business concepts, the better business you'll have. See, it's like communication is paramount to everything. Okay, so I'm going to give you how I think about it. So, how do you build, how do you grow a YouTube channel? Okay, I want you to think from now on when you think about YouTube, think about creating content for YouTube. So, content is something you create. So you create content. You're going to create content, which means, how do you create content? You create content out of the things you know. Maybe you multiply them times the things you've learned. Maybe you multiply them times the experience you've had. And then you have this unique experience. You're like, oh, I had an aha moment. And then you share the aha moments that you have with the people that are paying attention to you. Does that make sense? Okay. So you create content. The beautiful part about that is you have the ability, because of your unique perspective, to create content that no one else has ever created before. How's that possible? Because you've had so many unique experiences in your existence on this earth that nobody else has ever had. It doesn't matter if you have brothers, sisters, twins, triplets, it doesn't matter. You have a very unique perspective that's different from everybody else who exists. So what does that mean? That means you can apply the thing you're looking at in a different way because you see it from a different vantage point. Does that make sense? Okay, so you create content. Now, how do I create content? How can I create really great content? This is probably going to be one of the most important things I've said all day. Okay, you ready? You have to become more interesting. Right? Now, but that's a very paradoxical, oxymoronic, almost diametrically self-opposing statement. Right? What do I mean by that? Because most people think the way to be more interesting is by attempting to be more interesting. And when you attempt to be more interesting, you actually become quite boring. The one thing that you really can't stand to hear somebody talk about for too long or too often is themselves. It's like, get over yourself already. I did like 5 minutes ago, right? And so you don't become more interesting by attempting to be more interesting. Would y'all like me to tell you how to be more interesting? Like I can tell you how to be so much more interesting than almost anybody else you know or will ever meet. You ready? Become more interested. Only interested people are interesting. People who attempt to be interesting are boring. People who are interested, who are genuinely interested. Interested in what? Like if you become passionately consumed with learning the things you don't know, interested in how life works, like become insatiably curious about not everything, but everything that matters, you'll be more interesting because you'll know how it works. And other people don't. How many of y'all know most people have not figured out how life works? Can I get a witness? They struggling their way through life, right? The struggle is real. It ain't real, it's just real for you, baby. And it's real for you because you're not interested. You're not interested in figuring out how to make the struggle not real. You're buying into the lie that your perspective is reality. And your perspective is not reality. Your perspective is just your perspective of reality. And people say, well, you create your own reality. Shut up. No, you don't. No. You don't create your own reality. You create your own experience in reality. But reality does not change. Reality is what reality is. If you could, I'm not even going to argue the point because you got it already. Okay. So be more interested in how life works. Stop looking at problems as problems and start looking at them as learning opportunities. Stop looking at challenges as challenges and look at them as learning opportunities. Stop looking at so-called failure as failure and start looking at it as feedback. It'll change the game for you. You will be just become more interested. I unfortunately obsess over some things that it would probably be best for me not to obsess over. Like, who won, the croc or the hippo? I've got to know. I'm so glad. I haven't watched any of those lately, so they've not been popping up on my YouTube channel, so I've not been getting distracted for 30 minutes at a time watching animal fights. Cole has. Okay, good. You've been watching them because of me. I know. I'm going to take full responsibility for that. But decide. I'm going to tell you something. You want to be more interesting? Decide to learn a new language. Decide to learn how to play a musical instrument. Learn how to paint. Learn how to draw. Go learn a new skill, and then figure out how you can apply principles from that skill to a totally different discipline, and then communicate that to the people that you talk to. I'm telling you, people will be blown away. You want to find somebody who's interesting? One of the most interesting YouTube channels I've ever seen is Veritasium. It's a science channel. And you know why it's interesting? Because he's interested. This dude is interested in all kinds of stuff. He's interested in a lot of stuff that I'm interested in. Maybe that's why I find him so interesting. So if you become interested in the things that make your life work better, and you become interested in the things that make other people's lives better, now you're interesting. So if I become interested in principles and interested in people, I become way more interesting. Because if I can obsess over your problem more than you do, and I find the most elegant solution that you've ever seen in your life, where else are you going to go? You're stuck. Jesus looked at his disciples and said to them, he said, will you also go away? Peter had the answer. Here's what he said. To whom shall we go? For you have the words of life. When you become interested and obsessed with solving the people who God created you to serve, when you become obsessed with solving their problems, where are you going to go? See, this is way different than being interesting. Than attempting to be interesting. It's how you become interesting, by not trying to be interesting. Become more interested. Become interested in principles and interested in people. When you tie those two things together, guess what you have? You have these things called answers. Answers that people will pay attention to you to learn. I want to think about the fact. Okay, I'm going to do it right now. So there are 8,760 hours in a year, right? 8,760 hours in a year. That means there's 87,600 hours in 10 years. Okay, cool. So if I take my watch time hours on YouTube, I'm going to pick the peak of this week. Okay, so which was February 25th. 2 days ago was the peak of this month, right? We had 95,628 watch time hours. So if I take 95,628, 95,628, and I divide that by 8,760 hours, that means on the 25th of this month, people spent 10.9 years watching me. Why? Here's why. Because I'm interested in solving their problem, and they know it. I had dinner with a marketer, a guy who's made millions upon millions of dollars in marketing. He's like, dude, I don't understand why you don't spend more money on ads. I said, I understand why I don't spend more money on ads. He said, why? I said, because if the majority of the time when you show up in somebody's feed, you're showing up in an ad, whether they know it or not, they have a subconscious question in their mind. And that question is this: what does this person want from me this time? But if the majority of the time you're showing up in somebody's feed and you're just like, hey, this is something I learned that's really cool and it helped me, maybe it'll help you. And you don't ask for anything, and you don't ask them to subscribe, and you don't ask them to like, and you don't ask them to share, and you don't ask them to buy anything. They have a subconscious question in their mind every time YouTube tells them you're alive, or every time YouTube tells them you put up a new video. They have a question in their mind. I wonder what he has for me this time. I wonder what she has for me this time. I don't want them to think, I wonder what he wants from me. I want them to think, I wonder what he has for me this time. And when I show up with it, it's something so interesting because I was interested in the principles and I was interested in the people. Okay, so you want to create great content? Become more interesting. How? By being more interested. Then become more intentional. What does that mean? You become more intentional about everything you do. Now, one of the things that I've obsessed over, I don't even know if I should share this with y'all. I probably should. You don't even know what it is. How do you know? Okay. She's interested. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I think that's called beating me with my own stick. Okay, so here it is. Become more intentional. So one of the things that I've become like hyper intentional about is creating anyway offers. I become hyper intentional about creating anyway offers. Like, if I'm going to do something anyway, how can I make it make money? So how can I take some of the things that I'm going to do anyway and then turn that anyway thing into revenue generating activity? So for instance, I told you I just bought a new house, right? So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to put a gym. I've got 2 extra bedrooms upstairs. I'm going to put a gym in one. I'm going to put a golf simulator in the other one. I know, right? That's what I said. So I'm going to put a gym in one, put a golf simulator in the other one. But my biohacking room, I'm going to leave in the house that I live in now. Because like when we bought the new house, we didn't sell the old house. We still live in the old house and I'm going to keep the old house. But the old house isn't paid off. I still got a mortgage and I probably owe like $300,000 on it. But I still have a mortgage. And so I don't want to sell the house because it's an asset. Why do I want to sell it? So I'm like, okay, how can I make this house pay for itself since I own it what? Anyway. Oh, I'll just start a biohacking channel. I'll show people my biohacking routines. And then I'll invite other people over and biohack them and just turn it into a YouTube channel and see how people do when they get in my 34-degree cold plunge tank for 5 minutes. See, don't you want to see that? Don't you want to see people go, right? Right. What's that? You won't be one? Okay. But my point is, like, a lot of the I have a lot of really cool biohacking stuff in my house. Like I've got my Newbie, my NewFit Newbie, which is a pulse electromagnetic field. I'm sorry, it's a electronic muscle and nerve stimulation machine that you can hook up to your body, and it's not like a little TENS unit. It's like a big old console, and it's got all these different settings on it. And literally, I had to go to a training for 5 days with a bunch of doctors to learn how to use it. Like it's that, and I got that in my biohacking room, right? And so people want to, like, what if my brother, my brother came to me one day. He's like, man, my back's hurting. The doc told me it's just going to deteriorate, blah, 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 blah. And it's not going to get any better, and there's nothing they can do. Blah. I said, oh, there's something I can do. Come over to my house, right? And he got on my pulse electromagnetic field mat, right? And first we did some electronic muscle stimulation. But put the Newbie on him, put the electronic muscle stimulation on him, had him do some toe touches, some for recovery and then some for strength. And then he laid down on my pulse electromagnetic field mat. I said, okay, we're gonna put these goggles on you, and they've got these flashing lights, and you close your eyes, and the pulse electromagnetic field mat, like, it resets every cell in your body to the magnetic frequency of the earth. Like, it does it in 8 minutes. But if you can stay on longer, it just makes you feel so good. And so I'm like, if you fall asleep, just fall asleep. I'll come wake you up when it's over. And so he slept for about an hour. And when you wake up, you just feel good. Like you feel like you were asleep for 7 years. That's like you feel like Rumpelstiltskin coming out of 7 years of sleep. That's the only way I know how to describe it, right? And so like I did this for him. And his back was like, he was in a knot. He was hunched over. And he got up and was done. This was years ago. He's never had any problems with it since. Right? And so biohacking is real. Your body knows how to heal itself if you give it the right stimulus, right? Or stimuli. It knows how to heal itself. Anyway, whole biohacking channel, right? And people are going to be like, oh, this is so cool, right? Because it's just stuff I do, and it worked anyway, right? And like I'm sure I mean, I'm not in the best shape in the world. I'm no fitness model or anything, but I'm in decent shape for for a brother that got a grandbaby and and stuff like that. I'm all right. I'm all right. Anyway, so so I just go and do biohacking. I got a tonal, like the tonal with the screen and you do the workouts. I got that. I'll have a tonal in my new house too, but I'll keep one in my biohacking room. And so I just turn that room into a channel that will pay for that house. Right? Yeah. And then when I get my golf simulator, like, think about this, right? They just started the TGL, right? So some of y'all know what this is if you're a golfer. You know what TGL is, right? So TGL is the Tiger Golf League. And so they aired it on ESPN, and they play in this big, gigantic golf simulator. Well, I'm going to start the MGGL, the Myron Golden Golf League. Why not? And then turn some cameras on in my studio, in my simulator, and then people can watch me and my son-in-law try to beat people's brains out. Right? It's like an anyway offer. It's something I'm going to do anyway. So take stuff that you're going to do anyway that's interesting because you're interested, and then become more intentional about everything. Right? So this is how my brain works. Anyway, so I'm not going to give you all my anyway ideas, but those are some of them. This an anyway offer is how I pay for private air travel. It's like all the stuff I do is just a bunch of anyway offers. Anyway. So become more intentional. How did I come up with that? I just sat down and thought about, okay, well, how can I turn this thing that I'm going to do anyway into a money-making? Like, I got a friend in Las Vegas. This guy, he plays golf, and he teaches people how to do real estate and stuff. He says, but if you want to go play golf with me, you pay me $10,000, and I'll let you play around the golf with me. Right? He's not a professional golfer. He's just a guy who's got people who want to be in his presence. Okay, cool. So become more intentional, and then become more intense. And by intense, I mean collapsing time frames. Get more done in less time. That's what I mean when I say intense. I don't mean you're like, that's not the kind of intensity I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of intensity that can produce 8 hours work in 15 minutes. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where you can do that because of technology. We've got computers, we've got cameras, we've got YouTube, we can reach people. We've got AI that can help us think, right? And it can be a research assistant. Like, I use AI as a research assistant all the time. I know that I come up with the idea. I just let AI go find some of the components, right? So become more intense. Okay, now, so we talked about content creation. Here's what happens when you create content. The next thing that happens is you start to attract an audience. By the way, are you ready? Y'all ready? The audience is never wrong about whether or not they like your content. And see, we want to make the audience wrong. No, that was good content. I don't care what they say. I don't care what I say. I did a video recently, and I thought, oh, man, this thing's going to be great. And it's like, right? It didn't do, comparatively, it didn't do that well. I thought, this is one of the best videos. I can't believe people are watching it. Get over yourself, bro. I did another video. I'm thinking to myself, well, that was a bomb, and it gets 100,000 views in a week. I'm like, what is going on here? Here's what's going on. The audience is never wrong about whether or not it likes your content. You attract an audience. You don't build an audience. The audience already exists. You just attract them to you. How do you attract them to you? By the content you create. Is what I'm saying making some sense? Okay. How do I attract an audience? By working with human nature instead of working against it. What does that mean? If you show up hoping people show up for you, they're not going to. But if you show up hoping to show up for them, they'll show up for you. What does that mean? It means this. If you chase them, they will run from you. But if you run from them, they will chase you. What does that mean? That means when I show up in front of my audience, I'm not doing it so I can get a bunch of views. I'm not doing it so I can get a bunch of likes. I'm not doing it so I can get a bunch of comments. I'm not doing it so I can get a bunch of subscribers. I'm doing it because I've obsessed over a solution that will help you, and now I'm going to share it with you. And if I get something out of that, that's the bonus. By the way, how can you know if you're doing that or not? If you're unwilling to create the content when you're not getting the results that you seek, then you're not showing up for them. You're hoping they show up for you.
That part. That part.
So, work with human nature. Work on your human nurture. Work on your human nurture. In other words, work on getting better at loving the people. Because he who will be greatest among you, let him be servant of all. The person who figures out this, okay, so you do realize there are different kinds of channels on YouTube, right? There are entertainment channels. Entertainment channels are going to, at least in the beginning, maybe forever, get more views, likes, comments, and subscribers than the other two types of channels we're going to talk about. Okay? Why? Because they're entertaining, and entertainment is like, it's like an anesthetic. I entertain myself so I can just like pause my brain for a minute, so I can not have to think about how terrible my life feels to me right now and how it feels like it's not working. So I'm gonna entertain myself as an anesthetic to take my mind off the pain of my life. Right? So entertainment channels are going to do better because more people are interested in anesthetizing themselves than they are ascending themselves. That's just the reality. Because if you're going to ascend, you have to do something. Right? You can park your brain to be entertained. Okay. So there are entertainment channels. There are education channels, channels that exist to teach you something. Those channels. There's a guy that he teaches people how to do stuff that they should know how to do. He teaches young people how to change the tire in their car, change the spark plugs. He's got, I don't know, a whole bunch of subscribers and followers and all that. You got channels like Veritasium that I was talking about. That's an educational channel, right? So, and then you have enterprise channels. To me, an enterprise channel is the hardest to grow unless you're enterprise, meaning business. You're teaching business. So it's educational, but you're not just teaching stuff. You're teaching business in particular, right? But if you can figure out a way to make if you can level up on the educational, the way that you teach to make it easier for people to learn, and then you can add a level. It doesn't have to be a huge level, but a level of entertainment in there as well. Oh, now you've got an enterprise channel that people will pay attention to. Does that make sense? Okay, so you work on your human, on human nature. Let me say this about working with human nature that I didn't say. When you think about growing your YouTube channel, don't think about YouTube and don't think about the people who are watching you on YouTube. Think from YouTube and think from the audience, not about them. What does that mean? If you're thinking about them, you're probably asking questions like, how can I get them to do, how can I get them to like, how can I get them to subscribe, how can I get them to watch? But instead, think from YouTube. YouTube wants people to click on videos and watch it. So now, if I know YouTube wants people to click on videos and watch them and then watch them for a long time, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how can I get people to click on videos? So that YouTube wants to show them to people. I'm thinking from YouTube. But the audience, YouTube is going to show the audience what the audience already likes, and YouTube knows what the audience likes because every time we click on a video, the algorithm tracks us. So YouTube knows what we like. So they're going to recommend things that we're likely to click on. YouTube recommendations is a great way to grow your YouTube channel, but the best way to get YouTube to recommend your videos is to create videos that are like videos YouTube has already recommended. Which means your recommended section of YouTube is a great way to find people like you. Right? And then when you create a thumbnail, have a face, not a whole body, some curiosity, some contrast, some conflict, some controversy, and some confusion. Not all of those, but could be all of those or any of those. People are more likely to click. Okay, you can go back and watch the video because I'm not naming those again. Okay, so work on your human nurture, work with your human nature, and then work on YouTube's human nomenclature. Nomenclature is how people talk. So if you work with YouTube's human nomenclature, that means you're going to find videos that use certain sentence structure in the video title and certain sentence structure in the thumbnail title, and you're not going to copy it, but you're going to model it. And now you're working with YouTube's human nomenclature, which means you're giving YouTube content in a format that YouTube already recognizes that YouTube likes. In other words, you're not reinventing the wheel. It's already round. When something is round, it's virtually impossible to make it rounder. There's no rounder. There's no roundest. There's just round. Okay. Okay. Thank y'all for laughing at my corny humor. That makes my day better. Okay, so now we talked about creating content. I only have 2 more points and 3 subpoints under those 2 points, so we're almost done. Okay, we talked about creating content. We talked about attracting an audience, and now we're going to talk about building a brand. Now, here's what you have to understand. Everybody tap your chest and someone just say me. You already have a brand. Now, the question is, did you build your brand by design or did you build your brand by default? Because if you didn't intentionally say, I'm going to build this as my brand, then you built your brand by default. So what is a brand? This is the Myron Golden definition of brand. You're not going to find it in any dictionary unless I write one, which I haven't done. But here's the Myron Golden definition of brand. A brand is a name that reminds you of a story. What is brand equity? Brand equity is the degree to which a name can elevate your status by attaching to that name. Do you understand what I'm saying? So people drive a Mercedes because Mercedes is somebody's name. Whose name? The people who invent fancified luxury and sports cars. Fancified is the technical scientific term. So people wear Louis Vuitton and Coach and Perry Ellis because of the name. Their stuff is not necessarily better than other stuff, but they've built a brand. Well, and what's really interesting about, okay, so there's brand equity, but then there are premium brands, right? What's a premium brand? A premium brand is a name that reminds you of a story that's so valuable to you, you'd be willing to pay a lot of money to attach that brand to your brand. That's a premium brand. Like, if I can say that I bought XYZ shoes or XYZ belt or XYZ suit, then I'm using their brand equity to elevate my status or my brand equity, right? Okay. Now, so brands are built, right? So you create content, you attract audiences, and you build a brand. So you build a brand by predetermining the story you'd like people to think about when they hear your name. And then you show up like that. That's what Jesus did. Jesus had the best brand ever. Okay, I'm going to show you Jesus' brand because you're like, the Bible didn't talk about Jesus. Oh, here, it's in there. John chapter 1, here's what it says. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Him who? Him the Word. What does it tell us down in verse 14? It says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father. This is not the interpretation of that. The interpretation of that is what I just said, right? Jesus, who is the Word, became flesh and dwelt among us. That's the interpretation. But here's an application. His Word became his flesh, so he could dwell among the people he gave his Word to. When your Word becomes your flesh, in other words, you say something and then you do what you said you're going to do, now you can dwell among the people you gave your Word to. If your Word doesn't become your flesh, you can't dwell among the people you gave your Word to. You have to hide from those very same people. Right? Now watch this. When your Word becomes your flesh, people believe your story. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. What does it say next, though? And we beheld what? His glory as the glory of the only begotten of the Father. Watch this. When your Word becomes your flesh, people believe your story. Then and only then can they behold your glory. When you're doing a presentation, perception is more important than reality. But in fulfillment, reality is more important than perception. Who shows us that in Scripture? King Solomon. The Queen of Sheba came and she told him, I heard of your acts in my own and your wisdom in my country, in my land, but I didn't believe at all until I've come and seen for myself. And then here's what she said, but the half was not told me. Let me ask you something. When somebody hears about you, and then they come to find out if it's true, do they find out you're twice as good as they heard or half as good as they heard? That's your brand. Okay? So you build your brand. So I defining brand, I just did. Brand is a name that reminds you of a story. Brand's a name that reminds you of a story. That's the whole thing. That's what a brand is. Okay, let's refine a brand. How can I refine my brand? I can refine my brand by keeping my word and doing the things I say I'm going to do. And if I do that, people are going to, like, my word is gold. And so you've got to become such a person of your word that somebody, like, if you give somebody your word, in their mind, that's as good as a contract being signed. Okay? So, and then you combine your brand. When you combine your brand, when two powerful brands join together, they become more powerful than either one of those brands by themselves. What does the Scripture tell us? One will chase 1,000, but two can put 10,000 to flight. Those are war terms. Let's put it in wealth terms. If one person can make 1,000, two people can make 10,000. Are y'all tracking? Because all principles are microcosms of each other. Okay. Then lastly, so we create content, we attract an audience, we build a brand, and then we offer our offer. Offer your offer. Your offer must produce a measurable result. Like if it doesn't produce a measurable result, it's not a desirable offer. The thing that makes your offer desirable is that it produces a measurable result. There's a clear before and there's a clear after. That's why people say, when you say, I just help people get over past trauma, it's not a valuable offer. I mean, is it valuable for people to get over the past trauma? Yes. But it's not, but because they're paying you with a measured amount of money, what you just described is not measurable, so it doesn't match. Are you tracking? I help people heal from the wounds of the past. That's great, but it's not measurable. It's not a measurable result. There needs to be a clear measurable before and a clear measurable after. Okay, cool. It must produce a memorable result. Like you don't want to produce a measurable result that then once they get it, they've forgotten about it, right? So I want to produce a measurable result, but I also want to produce a memorable result. Like it's kind of interesting how I will never forget yesterday morning when we hit 1 million subscribers and y'all lost your minds. Okay. I was like, this was fun. Okay, I'll never forget that, right? And now I even have a picture to remind me not to forget. Okay, so memorable. And then your offer must produce a monetizable result. That doesn't mean that the only offers that work are make money offers. That means the offer that you offer somebody, like getting that result, has to make them more money or save them some money that it would have cost them had they not said yes to the offer. So when I think about growing my YouTube channel, here's what I found out. When you show up and you deliver value for people, you don't have to ask them to buy things from you. So you know what we do in our YouTube videos? I don't say, hey, go over here and buy that. Go over there and buy that. Go over here and buy that. I don't do that. You know what we do? For people who want to go look, we just put links to some of our offers in the description. Why? Because you don't have to tell smart people to go buy if you've already helped them.